Hello everyone, this is part 8 of my Discord bots guide, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the Wick bot, all of its best features and things that it offers, and how to set them up in your Discord server. Firstly, before we do anything, we have to go to the bot's affiliated website, and in this case it'll be wickbot.com. I will have this linked in the description below so you could follow along, but as always, we'll just go to the website here. Once you're on the website, it'll look something like this, and there'll be an invite as well as a dashboard option. Firstly, we're going to click on the invite button to invite the bot to our server, and before I click the button, just to make it easier, I always say that you should always be signed into your Discord account on the Discord app on the browser. And what I mean is, on discord.com/app, you should be signed into the same account that you're using for this bot when you're adding it to your server, so then you don't have to re-sign in every single time you're adding another Discord bot. But anyways, we will click on the invite button here, and once you do that, it'll bring up a window. It'll say continue to Discord, and then you will get a list of options. It'll say what it's doing, so it's simply adding the bot to the server. It'll gain access to your account, but that's normal. It'll know what servers you're in, and it'll be able to create commands. You'll choose the server that you're adding it on. In this case, it'll be my tutorial server, but of course choose whatever server you are adding it to, and then you'll click on continue. Then it'll show you the following permissions that it needs access to. Now, the Wick bot only needs administrator, and this is simply because the Wick bot is made for anti-raids and anti-spam. So it needs these permissions in order to actually be an anti-raid bot. So you'll have to have this checked off as administrator permission, and you'll click on authorize. Once you do that, you'll verify yourself, and it'll add the bot to your server. So as you can see, the bot has been added. We actually just got DM'd from the bot saying thank you for choosing Wick. And if we go back to our server here, we can see that the bot is in our online list. And once again, as I always do with the other tutorials, is I always give the bot's role just to differentiate them from other users. So we'll just give him the bot's role here. And now that he's in our server, we can actually configure the bot and see what it does and set up everything that it offers. So we're going to go back to the website here, and we're going to, I guess it automatically put us in the dashboard, but if you weren't in the dashboard, you would just click on the dashboard button on the website. So now we're going to go to our dashboard for our server here, and we can see there's a lot of different options on the left side. So as you can see, it actually gives you a list of steps that you should be, I guess, setting up in order to make the Wick bot very, very strong in your server to prevent different raids and all sorts of other stuff. So we're actually going to be going through this in the way that they have it listed here, just to make it easier, as if you are following these steps, then you can just follow this video. So firstly, we're going to actually skip the auto setup because that's just the auto button. I'm actually going to go through how to set up all these individually. Now we're going to first start with the miscellaneous steps. So we're going to click on miscellaneous, and simply all this is just choosing the prefix for your, actual server. And now the prefix is just simply just how to call the bot's commands. So they have W exclamation mark, probably because the bot is called WickBot, so W stands for Wick. But either way though, you could change this to whatever you'd like. If you want, you could have this as S or Q or T or R or anything you'd like. But we're just going to leave it as the default W, and that should be fine. And now the wizard actually that they have set up on their bot's website is actually very simple, because you could just go through each step simply in one screen. You don't have to be constantly clicking through all these screens here, which makes the setup a lot easier. So after you've chosen a prefix, we'll just go to the next slide here, and we'll be on /commands. Now we're still in the miss section, so this is simply if you want to enable these /commands for the Wick bot. So now if you already have other bots that use, like for example, the ban command or the kick command or something like that, if you already have a moderator bot like that, then you don't necessarily have to have this enabled. But if you are going to be using this as your main sort of moderation / anti-nuke / anti-raid bot, then this would be the way to go. So we're actually going to keep this enabled here just to have all of its different /commands available. Now, by the way, the /commands, it's not like anyone could use them. Only people with, I believe, admin permission can use them automatically, so you don't have to worry about any of that. So we'll enable /commands. We'll go to the next slide. Now it says compact mode. Do you want Wick's messages to have a compact style? So it depends if you want to compactify their messages. And you can see the difference here by clicking on this option. So you can see this is what it normally looks like to give you a sort of a list of details of the ban, or this is what the list would look like if it was compacted. So it's your choice on how much information you want to see and whether or not you want it to take up a lot of the chat. So this is your choice. They seem to have it automatically off because I'm assuming they want you to see as much information as possible. But if you're already familiar with this bot and all the different things that it shows, then of course you can compact it if you like. But I'll leave it off for now, as that is what they recommend. So we're going to go to the next slide here, and now we're in the logging channel. So this is similar to if you watched any of my other videos, such as my Dinobot video or my Sapphire guide. I do set up a logging channel in those videos, and simply a logging channel is just a channel where the bot sends messages whenever an action is done. This action could be deleting a message, joining a voice channel, someone getting banned, or someone... I mean, it could be literally anything. It could be creating a channel, creating a role, just any sort of action in the server that is, you know, I guess prominent enough where it will post a log of it. So then you could always check and see what has happened if you are in some sort of investigation or moderation case. So we're going to set the logging channel to our logs channel. So now if you don't have a logs channel already created, I would recommend creating it under your staff only section if you have a staff only section, because you want the mod logs to be only seen by staff members. You don't want it to be seen by anyone that's just a regular member in the server. So typically you would have like only the admin or moderator role to be able to view the channel, and everyone else cannot view the channel. But I already have the logs channel created, so we'll just use that. Also, as you can see, we could see that the Dinobot is already set up in here. But it's, you know, there's nothing wrong with having multiple bots sending messages to the logs channel. It's just not usually recommended. But if WickBot will be your main moderation bot and, you know, protection bot, then this is the way to go. So we'll choose the logs channel here as the one that we've created, or the one that you've created. Either way, you'll choose it, and you'll just click save in the bottom left here, or bottom right, sorry, and then you'll click on the next arrow. So now we're in the moderation logs channel. So this is similar to the other logs channel here, except for this one is for Wick's personal actions, versus this one is for the actual staff member moderation logs. But there's nothing wrong with having these in the same channel, but you could have them in separate channels if you like. But we're just going to choose the same channel here, click on save, and go to the next page. So now we're on the main role. So it says, what is the role of your what is the role your members need to access the server? Something like @member or @verified. So this is like your main role. This is like the member role, the role that everyone gets when they join the server. Now, if you have no roles that anyone gets when they join the server, that is kind of weird. I would suggest having some sort of role that is either automatically given or, you know, verifiedly given to every single user in order to be sort of the main role for all the normal users. So it says, a main role is super important to fight off raiders and spammers. So they do need to know this. So make sure you have a main role to select from. So we'll just choose the member role. But I just want to mention that actually, if we go to our member role here, it says that the role is above the bot. So we actually forgot to move the bot role above all the other users. So quickly to do that, you'll just go to your server settings. You'll go to your roles section, and then you'll find the Wick role, which is on the very bottom here. And you're just going to drag it above all the roles to the very top. It doesn't really matter where it is with the other bots, but just have it all the way up there, and it'll be totally fine. So now it's saved. Hopefully, okay, it's not actively updating, so we're going to have to refresh. It's already saved, so it should be fine. So we'll go back to the setup wizard. We'll just quickly skip through this to get back to where we were. And there we go. So now we can select the main role to be the member role. So now we'll just save changes and go to the next slide. So now we're in the auto mod section. So we're in the next section of the setup here. It says, do you want Wick to monitor messages? So simply, this is, this is the auto mod. So it's like moderation that happens for you, so you don't have to manually do it, such as deleting messages for specific reasons or deleting spam or whatever it could be. So I would recommend you have this on. It just saves moderation time. It makes it a lot easier, because if you don't have moderation and people are sending links or inappropriate images or scam links or any like that. You don't want to be constantly deleting them on your own accord, especially if you're not online. It's just really annoying. So it's good to have a bot always online that's deleting it for you. So we're actually going to turn this on. We're going to enable auto mod here. And also says while you're at it, you can moderate these different things here. So sure, let's turn these on. It'll moderate invite links posted. It'll filter out NSFW links, and it'll filter out malicious or scam links. So we'll turn all those on and click on save, and then we'll go to the next tab. So now we have the anti-spam module. So this is for spamming. So do you want to fight off spam in your server? And of course, you know what spam is. It's just sending multiple messages in a short period of time. So you can enable this and check the while you're at it. Always check this while you're at it section because it shows a bunch of different things that you could also moderate. So you could also moderate long messages. So if you want to delete really long messages, which usually are scams, then turn that on, which I will because that happens a lot in my server. Moderate emoji spam. This one's iffy. You don't typically see emoji spam nowadays from bots or whoever. But if you'd like to turn it on just in case you can. New lines and messages. This one's just really mass messages kind of thing with a bunch of new lines in it. Or monitor Zalgo and messages. These are, once again, these ones are kind of iffy. But long messages I would have turned on. Personally, I just think that's a really annoying thing to deal with. So we'll have that all on. We'll go to the next thing here. Webhook coverage. This is, do you want Wick to also monitor webhooks sending messages to your server? Keep this on. I would always keep this on because if someone somehow adds a rating webhook or something, you want Wick to automatically monitor and mod this, because if you have a random webhook join and you don't realize and it starts sending messages, you might not notice, you might not realize how it's sending messages, you might not realize it's a webhook. So it's good to just have this on always so that Wick will monitor it. So we'll just keep that on and we'll go to the next thing. And now we are on the anti-nuke section. So it says, do you want Wick to monitor moderation actions made by your staff members? So it says, yeah, monitor kicks and bans, monitor locations. Now I would turn this on. So this is basically if you have a moderator, maybe a new moderator or something, or a new admin that has access to, creating channels, deleting channels, banning members, then it's important to have this on if you don't fully trust your staff. Now, I know that sounds bad. You should always trust your staff if you're making any one staff, but you never know. It has happened many times in the past where you think you trust someone very much, and then suddenly out of nowhere, they just start deleting stuff and just destroying your server for no apparent reason. So this is a good thing to have just as an extra measure. It's basically if the Wick bot notices that they banned a ton of people, look at this, a ton of people at the same exact minute or at the same time, or they deleted a bunch of channels at the exact same time, then it will flag that as suspicious and possibly even remove their role or completely ban them. So it's always good to have this anti-nuke status on for moderation actions by staff members. So we'll leave that on and we'll go to the next thing. So now we have quarantine mode. So this mode essentially will remove all administrator permissions from everyone in the server, including admins and all that. So basically, if there is, someone coming in that has all these permissions that is just destroying, nuking your server, it's good to have this on because it'll basically automatically remove that permission from all of that, and it'll basically just stop any your current raids from happening, or current nuking from happening more specifically. So we will keep that on. Go to the next thing here. Now we have the whitelist section. So we have spam whitelist. So this is to choose users, you can choose users, roles, channels, and categories, and webhooks that you want to whitelist when it comes to spam. Now, if you don't know what whitelist means, it essentially means that, let's say that, I'm spamming, right, and I'm a regular user. Well, of course, it would be automatically deleted by the bot. But if you choose specific things to be whitelisted, then if you have those whitelisted things, then you are not affected from it, and you could spam and it won't be deleted or anything like that. So you could choose specific members if you'd like. You could choose specific roles. So if you wanted, I could just choose, for example, I could choose the admin role. I mean, of course, that would be kind of a weird choice because then your admins could spam. But either way, you could choose, a specific role that you don't want to be spamming. Now, this one's kind of iffy. In terms of whitelisting, I don't always whitelist too much. Maybe I'll whitelist the owner. Maybe I'll whitelist, some of the staff members or the bots, but that's about it. You don't want to just whitelist a bunch of a bunch of roles or a bunch of people, because then it almost makes your moderation completely useless if they could just bypass it because they have a specific role, or they have or they're in some specific channel. So typically I'd actually leave this blank, but you could choose if there's some specific roles or channels that you'd like to choose from. So we'll go to the next thing here. Now we have the invite link. Same thing as spam, except this is for deleting invite links. So this one is fine. I would typically have this for, if you have a self-promotion channel. So if you have a self-promo channel, which I don't have one, but if you have one, this is sort of the spot where you'd use it, because you don't want to have invite links deleted in the self-promo channel when that's what that channel is for. So things like that, very specific things like that is sort of where you'd want that, whitelisted. But we have nothing here, so we'll just go to the next one. Now we have the ping one. This is for, mass pinging, or if someone's, spamming pinging. This one, once again, I wouldn't really give to anyone, maybe a staff member if they have to ping multiple people. But for the most part, this one can stay blank. So we'll go to the next. And then at everyone. So basically, no one can really use at everyone except for, like, administrator roles people, or people that have that permission. But for the most part, you can leave this pretty much blank. You don't really want to mess with this, because if you mess with this, then it might conflict your permissions and it'll just be really weird and you'll have to try and figure out what's going on. So we'll just leave this blank for now. Now we have channel creation whitelist. So this is for, once again, it says like ticket bots, for example. So pick the categories where channel creations are absolutely fine. So it says this is useful if you have ticket bot, and this is true. So if you have a tickets bot, if you know how a tickets bot works, if you have tens of thousands of people on your server, and there's maybe 20, 30 tickets a day created, well, every time a ticket's created, a channel's created. So if you have 20 or 30 channels created a day, well, typically Wick would not let that happen. But since it's the tickets bot, you would just basically, now I don't have a tickets category here, but if you had a tickets category for when tickets are created, then you would choose that category here. So then, channels can be created under that category as much as it wants, and it won't be moderated by the Wick bot at all. So this is one of those things that you should turn on only if you have a ticket bot, but I don't. So we'll go to the next tab. Now you have quarantined whitelist. Pick the users that can touch quarantined members/bots. So this is essentially just, choosing certain users that have extra permissions that could edit, people that are quarantined. Now typically this is like, only owners and trusted admins. Now it actually says here only owners and trusted admins are whitelisted automatically. So you don't have to add, any admins to this whitelist. So from there, you don't really have to add anyone else unless you want moderators to also have this option, but I wouldn't give it to moderators because moderators are usually, they're not always trustworthy. Moderators can, especially if you're, getting a lot or adding a lot of moderators to your server constantly and, and swapping out staff, it can be problematic in the future. So I would just leave this completely blank because it already deals with the owners and the admins automatically. So we'll go there. Now we have the Joingate status. So essentially this is like a firewall or an auto mod as a user joins. And now it says this is the module to tweak. So this is the one where you want to really dive into the specific commands and see, what things you actually want, the Wickbot to target. So this one, I'm actually going to enable this because I think this is a really good way of like taking bots or like removing bots from your server. I would highly recommend turning on target Wick or accounts that Wick deems suspicious, as well as it says younger than a specific. I would turn this on so you could turn on a minimum account age to like, let's say, days. We'll put this to like, let's say 30 days. I think this is a really good one to turn on right here because there's so many accounts that join, especially my server, that join and they're, created like 3 days ago or something. And all they're doing is sending, scam messages, and then we have to go in and delete it. It's really annoying. But if you have this on, then people that are, very brand new to Discord, they cannot join your server. This is not to say that no one new can join, but it's just saying like anyone that's like kind of a bot, it'll rake out most of those bots because most bots are fairly new, I would say within a month old created accounts. So I would definitely have this Joingate on and this option on right here. So anyways, we'll click on save changes for that. Of course, you could choose any of the other ones if you'd like, but just, read what they do. And you'll go to the next thing here. Now, anti-raid status, sadly this is for premium users, so we can't have this section set up. But if you do have premium, this is the way to go. I would turn this on. Simply it says, if you want to keep your server safe and secure from bad raids, this is your savior. I would only recommend this if your server is very large. I would say multiple thousands of members. Then I would recommend having this option on. But of course, we cannot do this in today's video. So we'll leave that for now. We'll go to the next thing here. Now we have the verify section. Now, if you don't have a verification channel already created, then this would be the place to do it. Verification is simply to, once again it says, to fend off bots. It just, it's an extra CAPTCHA. It's basically like, do a little CAPTCHA and then you could get access to the rest of the server. And you'll basically just click on set up channel to set up the channel in your server. And then you'll click on enable verification. And then you'll save your changes. And this is a very good way to just have some sort of verification on, so you don't have bots instantly joining your server and spamming your channels. So I would highly recommend turning on verification. Then we'll go to the next thing here. We have rescue, or like recovery key. So it says if you lose control over Wick in your server, you can't access your owner account and no one is above Wick anymore. The rescue key will help you get Wick ownership. So this one is a key. You do not want to share this key with anyone. You should only have this key on somewhere, on your phone, maybe a picture of it. Have it only for you. No one else can see it. This is a very smart thing to have. Most bots don't have this, okay? Most bots do not have this. And this is very good in case, you lose your account that's owner, maybe someone hacked it, and they're controlling your Wick bot. You could simply use this key on their website, and they will basically remove that option from them and add it to your whatever account you're now signed in as from Discord. So this is a really good way to just sort of, remove their permissions if they hacked your account from this bot and sort of give it to your new account if you did get hacked. So it's a good recovery key for that, and not a lot of bots offer this, so this is a very good option, or a very good feature that they offer. So lastly here, that'll be that, and we'll be at the wrap section, and it says this is the end of it. So essentially, once you're done this, you can now see all the details of your server. It'll show you a security bar. You want this generally to be higher than 50%. Just in general, just makes your server a lot more protected. It shows you different stats of your server, shows you what's on and off. And you can always go back into the settings here and always change whatever you just changed here in much further detail. But of course, you could play around this with this. There's a lot of detail on different options you could change here. But I'd highly recommend going through each one just to make sure that everything is set up properly. Anyways, guys, that is how you set up the Wick bot for your Discord server. And that's how to set up all of its main features to make your server a lot more secure and stronger against nukes and raids. I highly recommend having some sort of nuke or raid bot in your server, whether it be this or maybe a Taja or some other one that has anti-raid features. Even Sapphire, I think, has some. I would recommend having some sort of thing like that on in your server, as it just prevents spam, scam, and all sorts of other bots that join your server, as well as, of course, nuking and raiding. So that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the long delay in videos. I was just very, very busy, but I should be back on schedule now. And hopefully you enjoyed today's tutorial. If I missed anything, very specific, or, if you have any further questions, you can ask in the comments, but lately I've been getting a lot of comments lately, so it's hard to reply to all of them. So I highly recommend actually going to my Discord server. It is linked in the description below, and I answer very, very frequently, if not all the time, in here. So if you have any questions, my Discord server is linked in the description below. You can simply go to the support chat or support forum and ask any questions you like here, and either me or one of my other staff members will answer your questions for you. So you do not have to worry about that. So make sure to join my server if you have any further questions. And of course, once we have 3,000 subscribers, I'll be giving away another 3 months of Discord Nitro to 3 different winners. So make sure to join for that upcoming giveaway once we have 3,000 subscribers. If you did enjoy this video, please subscribe. Please check out my other videos on my channel, as I post lots of Discord tutorials and Discord updates and content. So make sure to be notified for when new videos come out. Anyways, thank you guys for watching so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, or rest of your day, or whenever you're watching this, rest of your night. and I will see you guys in the next Discord tutorial. Have a good one. Bye-bye.